Hi all, let's have a look at another very interesting game from the FIDE World Blitz Championship. So Magnus Carlsen playing against Anish Giri, who is of course a major super grandmaster in the world of chess, 2750 rating. c4 from Magnus. We go into the English opening, 4 knights. Now after e4, bishop c5 is played. This does tempt this knight takes e5. Before we go into that, usually bishop b4 is the most popular choice in live book. For example, this has been seen before where black volunteers the light square bishop and seems to be, wanting to play on the dark squares. But white technically is slightly better there. Bishop c5 does ask for this knight takes e5. This has all been seen before. Now in this position, bishop takes f2 check is not played. It's not to be feared. This position, even with it doesn't matter, it's just short-term check. It's going to be kicked back, and white has that nice pawn center with the bishop pair. White stands a lot better, and that nasty pin on f6, very nice for white indeed. So here the idea is actually after d4, sorry, just to take care not to play bishop takes f2. So d4, and now the idea is bishop b4. So d takes, knight takes e4. Now Magnus plays queen f3 here. We have knight takes, b takes, the bishop drops back, and now queen g3. Black cannot routinely castle now because of bishop h6. Rather crude but very effective. And in fact, interestingly by the way, instead of just taking the rook, Stockfish is very naughty with this position and plays h4, letting the black rook escape, because this is much more devastating just to rip open the h file here and then play, for example, like this, is devastating with mating consequences on h8 potentially. So this is the really crushing way to play it, absolutely crushing, not just winning the exchange. So anyway, black can't castle basically. King f8 might be plausible because white has structural damage. The king's not ideal, obviously, and white's got a small edge, though, it seems here, technically not necessarily a huge advantage. So that's interesting to consider. Black plays g6. So there's a question mark now over where actually the black king is going to be living in this game. We have d6. Bishop e2, bishop e6, and that question seems to be answered by the queenside. The problem with the queenside is that the double pawns come with perks, they come with benefits, that there's a semi-open foul here to play with. We have rook d1, putting pressure on d6 for a moment. Queen d7, e takes, c takes, and now Magnus castles kingside, and black castles queenside. So how safe is the king over there? Bishop e3, retracting that bishop back. I mean, maybe black's going to play g5 anyway, swallowing up that bishop. The bishop hits usefully the a7 pawn. We have queen a4 defending it. Queen f3. So trouble brewing here, it seems. Magnus doesn't care about his c4 pawn, for example. There's other fish to fry here. Queen c6, we have queen f4. Interesting to put the queen there in particular, but it can go to d4 later and hit a7. So a7's under fire here anyway, so we have b6, a4 offering the a4 pawn, but otherwise it's going to be blasting down anyway with a5. Black actually plays rook d7 here just to show queen takes a4, rook a1. This position is extremely nice for white. Yeah, hitting e7, it looks, there's very scary ideas like c5 and bishop a6 if needed as well. So we have rook d7, a5. It seems as though Magnus's opening has been a huge success here. The castling queenside doesn't look too convincing in this game. B takes. On rook b7, a takes, and then bishop f3 skewers wins the exchange. That's enough for a big advantage, of course. B takes was played. This doesn't look ideal at all. Rook b1, rook c7, c5. So opening up the lines. D takes, no blockade against the double pawns here. The king is the biggest element of the position, not positional play around the pawn structure, it seems. So we have queen d6, queen e4. And Anish Giri here played rook d8 and resigns, I believe, with this move, because he did spot a crushing tactical blow which could occur next. In fact, white has different ways of playing this, but the most clinical, crisp way, I wonder if you can find it. White play, if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. So the game actually ended here, but what would you play with white if you had this possession? Okay, rook b8 check, a lovely drag and drop tactic. If king takes b8, then the game ends immediately with queen a8 checkmate. And if the king goes to d7, there's a lovely move, queen a4, not letting the king escape. Say rook c6, bishop takes. This is absolute devastation, because here, especially because white plays what? Rook b7 check, celebrating the pin. If the king comes out to play, it's not going to last long with moves like bishop f4 check, etc. So this variation just loses the queen. So yeah, it was resigned here without waiting for this lovely rook b8 check move. So Magnus shows in blitz chess he is formidable. He is super dangerous. It's like chess dancing on ice meets dancing on ice. It's very easy to slip up very, very badly in blitz chess, but Magnus seems to be very, very solid compared to his fellow super grandmasters. Yeah, this looks like a very, very interesting opening and some interesting ideas in any case for our own games. If you enjoyed this game video, then please click on the top left box, which should appear shortly. Become a member at chessbowl.net. Play against other YouTubers. You can also check the YouTube analysis of all these games from the improved menu learned from the Masters YouTube order button. Comments, questions, donations, see the description. Like, share, subscribe with the notification bell, really appreciated. And also check out the Teespring t-shirt store in the description. Okay, thanks very much.